Brothers and sisters in Christ Jesus. Today I am going to speak to you about 3 fundamental deviations in life. Many years ago, I was requested by the principal of a prestigious college in Bangalore to give a talk to students on sin. The reason why he approached to me was the students he found are not very disciplined in the college. They smoke, they take drinks sometimes, they bunk classes, they enter into relationship problems, and therefore he wants me to address the students. In other words, I am supposed to change their heart, which is so red as the premium lipstick, to white as wool. I agreed. I was at that time the pastor in charge of Jesus Youth in Karnataka, and therefore he knew that I used to address the students. It was on a Sunday, and I went there and I could see hundreds of students in front of me. But I could see on their faces a very serious, sad faces. Because on a Sunday, to come and listen to a priest is not something that is desirable for a student in Bangalore. They would instead like to go for a shopping spree or a picnic or an outing. But then it was compulsory, attendance was made, and therefore the students were forced to sit in front of me. I knew that. So I just asked the students, what is sin? Because that is the topic I am going to speak to them. What is sin? They began to say, that's one thing I love, the students, the youngsters, they speak what they do. They began to speak out one by one. Father, we drink, we take a cigarette or two, we bunk classes, and we have relationship problems, we betray each other. So these are things one by one coming out from the students, and when I looked at the principal, he told me the same, and the principal's face was so happy, smiling, because this is the one that I need to address. After listening to the students one by one, I told them, they are not sins. I just looked at the principal, I could see his face gone, so angry. I could see wrinkles on his face. Angry face. I pretended to look the other way. But I told the students, listen to me. I have something to tell you today. I want to speak to you on 3 things, which I consider, I won't categorize it as sin, but I would consider as 3 fundamental deviations of life. First one, living without consciousness of God. I started with a small anecdote. There were 2 ladies. They were given an option. An 80-year-old lady and an 18-year-old young girl. Both of them were given an option. Suppose if you are given a chance to take either an engineer or a priest, whom would you take if you go on a flight? The old lady, 80-year-old lady, immediately said, I would take a priest with me. Then she was asked, why did you choose the priest, not the engineer? Then she said, in case the flight developed a technical snag, I would ask him to pray with me and we will both enter in heaven. But the other one, the young one, said, I would take an engineer. Then she was asked the same question, why did you choose the engineer over the priest? Then she said, if the flight developed a technical snag, I would ask him to repair the flight and we will both land on the earth and live ever happily, if possible. 2 ladies represent 2 different eras of life. The old one represents the traditional faith-oriented life. Look at the village life. When I was young, in the village, the priest, the parish priest, was all-important person. He was the most erudite person in that village. He used to be our teacher, our advisor, our spiritual leader, our medicine giver. He used to be everything. And people used to flock to the church with total faith and love for the priest. I still remember when my paddy field was infected with insects, my mother used to call the priest and he will come and bless the paddy field, and we believed the insects will fly away. Such kind of unconditional, complete faith. The churches were full and religious activities were excellent and things were going on well. But the time has changed. The time has changed and the situation has changed. Today we are in the new era of the young girl who chose the engineer over the priest. If medicine can solve, why should I go to the church and pray? A doctor is sufficient. If a good counselor, a psychologist can advise you, why should I go for confession? So, the hospitals, the counseling centers are replaced by temples, churches, mosques and things and whatnot. So this is the situation, and I'm not simply saying in the air. Look at the percentage of attendance in the churches in Europe, in America, and even in India. The number is coming down, dwindling down. So therefore, I would like to reflect with you, I would like to share with you the need to have the consciousness of God in our life. My question is, why should I pray to God? Why should I come to God? Why should I have the consciousness of God within me? I just want to give an anecdote related to Sir Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton, when he was a bright, shining scientist, he was asked by a journalist. He asked him, "Sir, what do you think about yourself?" Isaac Newton said, "I am like a shell on the seashore, shining brightly under the sun." In fact, it was true. But he did not stop there. He says, "The next wave comes and I am completely covered." Look at the beauty of that sentence. I am like a shell shining under the sun, but the next wave comes, I am completely covered. What is human nature? What is human life? We have gone to the moon, we have great many discoveries and inventions, and in fact for the last 40 years, the world has seen more inventions than the previous 2000 years. Yeah, we have succeeded. But a small accident, a small sickness, a small microvirus like Corona, COVID-19, we are wiped off from the face of the earth. Do we still need God? Can medicine replace churches? Can confession replace counseling centers? Do we still need the power of God within each one of us? I still remember once we used to go for prayer meetings in Meghalaya and Shillong. We used to go to the villages. And as we go, we encounter a small worm called leeches. And I was watching how the leech climbed to the grass. They climb inch by inch and they reach on the top of the blade of the grass, and then again they climb a few more times and they fall flat on the ground. And they again climb. If you look the life of a human being, it is almost like that. We left to ourselves, we keep on climbing, and when we reach on the top, we feel a vacuum. There's no connection between that. It is like Friedrich Nietzsche, who would say, the aim of man is to climb to where? Climb to nowhere. Yet he climbs. Life is an eternal recruit. But we human beings, we Christians, we understand as we climb, we need to connect with God. And that's what I say, we need to have consciousness of God within ourselves. When we have the consciousness of God, even in the midst of difficulties, accidents, uncertainties, we still have someone to hold on to. Unlike Nietzsche, we would say, we climb to where? Climb to God. And that God is the source of everything. I'm not advocating for an external, traditional pietism. It is the real awareness of God within me. Now, what is the advantage of this? When I have the awareness of God within me, that feeling of God consciousness will prevent me to do something wrong. Suppose if I go and take a bribe, immediately the God who is present in me would say, Emmanuel, you are doing something wrong. That prevents me from committing that crime. So therefore, the consciousness of God is necessary so that we remain balanced. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. The consciousness of God is necessary for a balanced life. So today, the world, because of the advancement of science and technology, have a misperception that we can live without God. We need that God. Like Isaac Newton, we may be shining, but he would say, the next wave, we are completely wiped off. So, remain rooted in the source of our life, remain rooted with God. So this is the first thing. Living without the consciousness of God is a fundamental deviation. We forget our root, we forget our source, and we forget our divinity within us. Second, living without responsibility. One of the fascinating novels that I have read, titled Ishmael, written by Daniel Quinn, speaks about a gorilla seated in a moving zoo, having the Bible in his hand. And you know what is written at the back of the Bible? It is written, Am I my brother's keeper? God the Father came to Cain and asked, Where is your brother? And Cain replied to Yahweh, asking him a counter question, Am I my brother's keeper? You are. I am. We all of us are caretakers of our brothers and sisters. And that takes me to the first aspect of responsibility, what I call personal responsibility. Because unless I have, I cannot give to the other. Unless I develop my personality, unless I use my talents, my resources, my time, my energy to develop my personality and my life, I cannot give to the other. Look at the parable of the talents. There were 3 people and each of them were given various amount of talents. The first one got 5, the second one 2, and the third one 1. And the master went away, allowing them to use the talents. When he came back, he found the first 2, those who got 5, those who got 2, multiply their talents. Whereas the last one, he just buried it. Remember, he did not misuse the talents. He did not waste his talents, but he just kept it idle. But master was furious. He threw him out and took away even the 1 talent that he possessed and gave to the one who multiplied the talents. What is the use of giving talents to people who do not use it? I always believe life is a gift from God. It's a free gift from God, and therefore anything that we get as a gift should be responded with responsibility. I used to ask the students, why do they bunk classes? That's because they are not responsible to themselves and to their parents. The parents are given the money, the parents are given them an opportunity, and by bunking classes, they are irresponsible to those things. Why do they smoke? Why do they drink? It's because they are not responsible to themselves, their health. So everything, in fact, pinning down to the one factor of responsibility. Why do they betray each other? It's again, they are not responsible to the person who is in relationship with. They are not respecting the other. So therefore, all these things are basically speaking about irresponsibility. So today what we need is responsible to oneself. Responsible to the talents that God has given and use it and develop it the best way possible. And then we come to the second aspect of responsibility, social responsibility. Whatever I have is not only for myself, because I don't live in an isolated area. No man is an island. We live in a community, we live in a society, we live in our families. And therefore, we need to help each other. We need to take care of the other. So whatever I have developed through my hard work, I need to share with the other. That is how we build up a community. That's how we take care of the other. So social responsibility is finding common good amidst ourselves. We need to care for the people. We need to always allow for other people to survive, other people to exist. Gabriel Marcel speaks about two kinds of people. The one group he calls as having people. The other one is being people. The having people who always try to amass things. For example, when I had a small radio, I wished to have a radio with a tape recorder. And when I did possess a radio with a tape recorder, I want to have a CD player. And then, once I got that, I want to have a DVD player. Then a TV, then a bigger TV. Our need never ends. It's always increasing day by day. So, the having people are people who are always wanting to amass and collect things for themselves. The time, talents, energy, resources, everything is only for oneself. You know what happens? We create walls around us. Myself and my possessions. And the others are outside my wall. I cut off my relationship with the people. And that is why today the world is divided as have and have not. On the other hand, Gabriel Marcel speaks about being people who by very nature are trying to transcend one's own ego and reach out to the other. They are the one who is really responsible to their brother or a sister. They are the one who is really taking care of his or her sister or brother. Instead of walls, they make bridges. They transcend oneself and reach out to them. And this is what I call real social responsibility, what I call finding common good in the society. The third one is living without morality. I just want to make a distinction between morality and morals. Unfortunately, today we merge this morality with morals. Morals is a custom, is a culture, is a way of life, is a habit. Now, for example, eating food is a way of life. Suppose if I eat pork, I have no problem. I can eat any amount of things, any amount of meat. Till I get dysentery, I can eat. But if I eat pork in a Muslim family, it's something bad. What is good in one place is bad in another place. Suppose if a girl goes in a miniskirt in the villages of Kerala or Tamil Nadu or Andhra Pradesh, she has a problem. She is called a loose woman. But the same girl goes in a major cosmopolitan town, she is called smart, cute, progressive, sexy, all good things. What is good in one place is bad in another place. Or if you take your girlfriend at your age of maybe 18 or 19 on your bike, you are called a bad person if you happen to be in the villages of Orissa or Andhra Pradesh or Kerala. But the same person does not have a girlfriend to take behind the bike. In major cosmopolitan like Bombay and Goa, you have a problem. Now what I'm trying to say here is, morals is neither good nor bad. It depends on the place, depends on the culture, depends on the situation. Only thing, we need to respect the culture and behave accordingly, prudently. But morality is much deeper. Right is to be done, wrong is to be avoided. If I calumniate someone's name, it is bad for whether you are a Malayali or a Tamilian or a Telugu. it hurts. If I do not allow their growth. Or if I punch on your nose, it bleeds, irrespective of the language or culture or religion that you profess. That means morality is universal. It is applicable to everyone in all the places. And that is what I would say. Real morality is not morals. Real morality is coming from the heart. It concerns about human nature. It concerns about human growth. My dear sisters, my dear brothers, this is what exactly I want to share with you. 3 things, keep in mind. Have the consciousness of God within everyone. Be responsible to everything that is understood with. And be moral in whatever you do. These 3 are interconnected. If you have no consciousness of God, you will not be responsible, you will not be moral. If you are not responsible, you will not have consciousness of God, you will not have morality. They are interconnected. One leads to the other. Without these 3, life becomes the way you live. So instead of cleansing and correcting the periphery, like bunking class or smoking, etc., try to base on these fundamental things. Once these fundamental things are clear, everything is okay. I wish you all the best. May God bless each one of us. Thank you.